All right, here we are. We're back in the penthouse in the sky. What do you think, Clooney?
Hey, it's good to be back. You know,
Dude, I love this place. I mean, every time I come here.
I'm glad you guys called me back. You know, I thought I was going to not see you guys again.
I'm not sure that you weren't on the no-fly list down there. You know, security somehow effed up to let you in, but that's another story.
Yeah.
You know?
Beautiful day.
Beautiful day here in Los Angeles.
Yep. Sun is out.
Yep.
So what do we got going on, man? What's up?
We're talking about buying houses.
Oh,
all right.
Buying houses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Buying houses.
Listen.
Buying houses to live in or buying houses to rent
are you
or
gonna
to
are you gonna
flip?
live it? Well, Corey was talking about buying a house or a duplex.
Well, I want to buy a house, a duplex. I have quite a few people in my life who are in the buying house process. I want to know, first of all, like if you could tell anything to someone who's about to buy a house, what would be the first thing you were gonna say?
I would say talk to a lender first, because so many people go out, they look at houses, they go to open houses, they get excited, they do all these things, but it really starts with, I mean, don't get me wrong, unless you're just paying cash, then that's fine.
Doesn't matter.
But if you're like most people and you're getting a loan, get with a loan officer.
Yeah.
Find out what you're actually approved for. Find out what those payments are really going to look like, because that's real shit, right?
Not just
and that
your
knowledge
mortgage.
is power, right? That cliched, like corny line, but it really is. Like, get pre-approved, and you'll be in such a really good position.
You have to. You have to. I think you got to work backwards.
Oh, so you do it like a car? Like you get pre-approved, same thing? Like
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Understand.
Yeah. So, pre-approval is pretty easy. They'll check your credit. They'll look at your income. In most cases, it can be same afternoon or a couple of days. They might want you to send them some information, but it's a pretty fast process. And then once you do that, you'll have a really good idea.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna financing matters. So how much you're gonna put down?
Mm-hmm.
What is your what are you gonna put down? And then that'll be based. Your loan amount will be based on what you can put down, and then of course prevailing rates and stuff. There's a lot. Now that you asked that question, there's a lot.
I would say. By the way, just to jump in, I would say the second most important thing would be really think about what your parameters are, because a lot of times buyers will start looking and they don't know if they want to be in Pasadena and San Diego and Orange County and Bakersfield, all these places. And then they don't know, like they're all over the map and they're not sure how big or what it's okay to be a little open-minded. Of course, when you're buying your first home, you're going to be a little open-minded about checking some different things out, but sit down and make a list of what's really important to you. Like your must-haves, your wants, but also your must-haves. Okay, I need three bathrooms. I need a 2-car garage. I need a yard. Whatever you need, make that list, because the more finite you can be with that, it's going to really help your search.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any like emotional or like psychological things that to take consider when?
Well, I mean, emotional or psychological. I mean,
is it like gambling? Gambling's really emotional.
Well, you can take that and go like, okay, do you like the neighborhood you're in, Corey? You know what I mean? Are the schools adequate enough if I have a family? I don't know if you're going into this thing single or not, but so emotional stuff. Yeah, you can help your emotional side by doing a little due diligence.
Yeah, and I would add to that, like, be prepared to have some surprises, because I've yet to see an escrow that just closes smoothly and everything goes as planned.
Right.
So, you might think you're getting your keys on the 30th. You might not get them until the 15th. You might think you're,
that's true. Yeah.
That nothing's wrong with the place, and then you're going to realize you got to put $5,000 to fixing some plumbing.
Right.
You might ask the seller to help you with that, and they might only give you a part of that. Like, just different things, right? It can be an emotional roller coaster. Even sometimes we've had a lot of clients that, they just lose out on properties. They think they have something secure, they lose out on it, or we get them in escrow on a deal and it falls out because of an appraisal issue or something else.
Right.
And so we always tell everybody, like, look, take this process in strides, because you're going to probably be in for a little bit of an emotional roller coaster if you're buying your first property. But when you get to the finish line, it's going to be well worth it.
Yeah.
Right. When you get those keys, that closing day, you're like, I made it happen. Woo.
Do you need a real estate investor to buy a house? A realtor? Sorry.
No, you don't.
But you should.
Why?
Well, first of all, there's very few situations where there wouldn't be a realtor involved. So like you could go directly to the listing agent, the seller's agent. You could do it that way. But I think back to Greg's point, you really should have your own realtor. It's almost like going to court without your own attorney, right? Like, and typically you want somebody who's advocating for you, that's walking you, weaving you around the landmines of the deal, making sure you're not getting taken advantage of.
Especially like in the negotiation process, in the initial phase of buying this property, Corey, when you go back and forth, maybe there's a seller counter, maybe there's a buyer counter, just to make sure all your points are covered. Because you miss one thing, oh, fuck, that wasn't even disclosed and I didn't. So now I can't go back and ask them to do this for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Just those little nuances.
There's a lot of things that go into buying a property that you just wouldn't know. And so a lot of behind the scenes things relating to, again, is the house working properly?
That makes sense.
Does the electrical work? Does the roof intact? Like, yeah, you can just hire your own inspector, but the agents kind of know how to navigate you through certain things. And
even
again,
talking to the escrow, like Brandon was saying, things come up, the appraisal,
Paperwork,
and dealing with the escrow and stuff. It all kind of just, you have bigger things to worry about.
Let's put it this way: if you're like super well off and you've already purchased 1 million homes before and you know your shit, like in theory, what do you need a realtor for? But everybody else pretty much needs, in my opinion, we're biased, we're realtors, we're brokers, but most people need someone advocating for their side of the deal.
I do find having a professional involved does help with in general. It usually is worth the money. For the time difference, just the time differences.
100%.
Interesting. So you guys have been doing this for a long time. How many homes have you actually do you know how many homes
We should tally that we sold.
Yeah, bought, sold.
Bought and sold. Damn, we should tally that up one of these days. We should know the number. I mean, I'm sure it's for sure hundreds. I mean,
quite a few. Yeah,
it could be a bigger number than that.
But I was just thinking, for myself, how many times have I bought a home
just
for
personally.
my own personal self? Because I think it's a totally different, dynamics when you're buying something for yourself as opposed to us buying a flip. Or selling a property or buying a property for a client, the emotional attachments are a little different.
Do you buy homes to flip them personally? Is that's I imagine that's what some people do. Like they get tired of living somewhere and they flip them and they're like, okay,
move in and then move out.
Yeah, they're like there for 2-3 years. And okay, I'm over it.
House hacking. Right?
I don't, but I know a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I know even the guy we were talking to up north that that does the flips up there. That's how he does it. He'll move in for two. Well, because the thing is, if you live in a place and you live in your primary residence for at least 2 years, you can avoid capital gains when you sell. Now, there's a little limit on it.
Wait, so if you live in the place for 2 years, you can avoid the capital gains tax.
Right.
When you
so
sell
if you buy this rental
Interesting.
property today for $300,000 and sell it for $500,000, the government's going to come in and say, okay, we want a $40,000 bill for that tax or whatever.
Right.
But if you moved into it and then you sell it for the $500,000, they give you up to so much. Like if you're single, I think it's $250. If you're married, it's up to $500,000. But it's basically that first tranche of profit they won't tax.
Interesting.
So a lot of people will just if they're a married couple, they'll just roll in and out of houses, and then to the extent that it's $500,000 or less profit, they pay zero tax on it. And they can do that every 2 years, every couple of years.
And Corey, that's why.
And if you're single, it's $250,000. So you can just
stack up. It's just
a lot of people do that. And that's an interesting
That's what I
way to,
suggested for Corey. I'm telling you, Corey should do that.
Well, I think you should do one of two. Yeah. Well, actually, no, I agree with you. You should do that. But I think when you're ready, you should buy a duplex.
That's what
duplex,
I said.
Cool
A
part of
duplex.
town.
Buy a duplex in LA.
Because you're already generating income.
wherever you want to live, but something in a cool part of town, duplex, triplex, whatever.
And
you
even
live in
if
one
you
of
have
the
to
units.
fix it up a little bit, Corey, we could help you with the right people.
No, Greg will come over and he'll paint.
Oh yeah,
Right, I can do a little something. I can.
He'll work for Jack and Coke and pizza.
Yeah.
All right,
And an
word.
occasional hoagie, but other
I
than
have
that,
those things. Those things. I have those things.
Yeah.
I that's funny. So okay. So how much do you think it actually? So I want to buy a duplex in LA.
in LA,
Yeah.
you can spend $700,000 to $1 million too. Probably about $1 million. What do you think?
I'd say up to $2 million for a duplex, but yeah.
Well, yeah, if you go to Venice or some shit. But I mean, I feel like even in a decent part of town, you could probably for
750, 800,000.
900, a million. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then so what's the down payment on that? What's
You got
the
to
mortgage
put.
on that?
I plan on putting about $50,000 down. You
Oh,
probably
that's
need
not
50,000.
bad.
Yeah, if you're owner occupied, if you get an FHA 3.5% down, or if you do a 5% conventional,
Right. Huh.
So,
And see, the financing's way better too, Corey, because you're buying it owner occupied.
Right. So
If
that's
you
why
were
you get that
buying it
low down payment.
non-owner, lenders look at that as more risky, and so your rates are higher if you bought it as an investment property.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if you buy to live in it, you get a better rate.
You get a better
yeah,
rate
better rate, lower down
because
payment.
it's owner occupied.
Well, because I think they look at it like you're
less
more
likely-
you're less likely to stop paying on the house you live in, right?
Right.
Right. So
Right.
so yeah, but no, dude, you should.
And what's that mortgage a month?
Well, again, back to that. If you're buying $1 million property or $800,000 property,
Right.
let's just do the math.
Let's
I
do
feel
the
like we
math.
were talking about this.
Well, if the loan
Look,
amount-
I'm just gonna do the lazy math. I can manually.
do a
I'm gonna
loan
go to Chat
amount-
GPT and say on an $800,000,
but
I'm just
Brandon,
gonna
do a
bring.
loan amount of 700. Because
Okay.
if you're going to buy 800, you got to, well,
But if you're putting 50 grand
yeah,
down, let's
yeah,
say,
so
okay,
750.
on a loan amount of 750. Okay.
Even do 800 because let's assume I got to put 50 into it.
Oh, shit.
800,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
That may be a scary number. But this is principal and interest. I mean, this isn't interest only. The loans generally are like fully amortized.
What does that mean?
Well, it means that they'll fully amortize it to
Over
be
the
paid
length of
off
the
in
loan?
30 years.
Right.
An interest-only loan, you're only paying the interest. The principal still remains.
Asking Chat GPT. Come on, help me out here. It's a little faster. That's actually less than I was. Well, but maybe my rate's low. I put in a 6.5% interest rate.
And what's the payment?
And on 750, the payment is $4,700, and on on 800,000, the payment is $5,000. Now, so okay, so let's say upwards of around $5,000. Now that's
Because I'm paying $4,000 a month right now.
You're paying $4,000 a month. Yeah.
I'm paying $4,000 a month right now.
Now, by the way, you will have that doesn't include your taxes and insurance and some of your other stuff. So I would add another grand on it. I would say, but by the way, but if you could be somewhere around $6,000. But the thing is, if you buy a duplex and you got someone else that's paying you $2,500, $2,800, whatever they're paying
that
to
towards
get
your
it.
mortgage. Right.
Think about it now.
Yeah.
6,000 really goes down to you're maybe paying $3,500 or 3,000 or something like that.
Right.
That's
Split it with a roommate.
yeah, exactly.
Right,
That's not
right,
horrible.
right. Not horrible. Trying to figure out how to get some money. You know what I'm saying? Trying to,
And Corey,
You know what? Charge Greg more money.
every year you get
Greg's Amex.
appreciation. You're getting appreciation. 2-3 years, you could refinance and pull some cash out and go buy another one. That's what people do. Go house hack another one.
If you had $10,000 right now to do something, you have $10,000 extra dollars. You need to use it to make more money. What would you do with it?
10,000.
Only 10,000. You have no friends. You have no
friends.
You have no friends, no family to
Nothing.
help you do anything.
I'd have to go to Vegas.
Greg's putting it on red. Yeah. He's putting it on red.
That's fucking funny.
That's a really good question.
$10,000.
That's a very, very.
Because that's like some money, but that's like not that much money.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's not enough money to play with in Los Angeles. But
Well,
that's
see,
enough
like
money to
in
play
the
with in maybe another
past,
market.
Yeah.
in the past, I would have with 10,000, like when I was in my 20s, and if that's like that's what I had or something, I would have said, okay, let me try to buy some stocks with that or some crypto or something where I can try to like level that 10,000 up real fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I might actually do something a little differently with that. If I had $10,000, I think the better answer is I would invest it into whatever my primary business is. However, how did I make that 10 grand to begin with?
Okay.
And by the way, maybe I work for somebody.
Yeah, maybe you work for somebody.
Right.
Right.
I mean, because I guess the point is like, if you can figure out how to turn that 10 grand into,
Great grandma died.
Great grandma died. She gave me 10 grand.
You got 10 grand.
Yeah, it's a really, it's hard to answer because it's different for everybody.
Right.
If I own a business, like let's say I'm a realtor, let's say I do video work and producing and things like that, I'd probably use that money to invest into my primary business to
get
make more money.
Right.
Before I'd go out and buy a passive investment, before I'd buy like a property with it or some stocks or something, I'd try to actually get that to be like 50 grand or something, right? Then I would chunk it down on something. But so I'd take the 10 grand, I'd throw it into marketing or something like that.
Right.
Now, if I didn't have a business, that's a really good question. I mean, I'm a real estate guy. I'd find a way to get that into some effing real estate. But it's not,
Right.
you're not going to be, well, you're going to have to probably buy real estate with somebody else, right? It's like
Okay.
what we do.
Nah,
It's
but-
like, well, you're gonna, find your cousin, your brother, who each have $10,000. Now you guys put 30 or 40 grand down on just one property that you own together. Like that would probably be what I would do with it if I didn't have a business to put into it.
Yeah, but I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any family.
You did, yeah. You don't have
any.
anybody.
No friends, no
Fuck,
family.
then I'm back to Greg's Vegas point. If that's the case,
Yeah,
I'm
it's starting to look a
putting
lot
on red.
better, right?
This is not enough money to play with. Come back later.
Well, because that's the thing, right? Like even really good investments, you make 10, 15, 20% a year, typically, right? And so when you only have $10,000, it's like, you can throw it away, or you can throw it out there at some investment, but what are you gonna make? A couple $100 a year?
You can make 9% in the S&P.
Yeah,
But don't
it's not a lot of dollars. And so the better idea is to figure out like, hey, how can I multiply this a little bit faster in something that's gonna,
Do it faster.
do it faster. And I think it's more of your active business or
There's
something.
Yeah, like don't you want to have your money work to start making more money for you, right?
Right.
In some aspect or whatever. But
Yeah.
if I had 10 grand,
Because I feel like
maybe there's a business I could buy.
$10,000 is enough to do the American dream. I feel like with no plan
Yeah.
and $10,000,
Yeah.
you should be able to get rich?
You should be able to do something.
I
Yeah.
think.
Corey,
I
anything
think-
is possible.
I feel like people have made more with less.
You could find the right avenue to get that money into and start making money for you and start. Yeah, you could. I'm telling you, it could happen. No question about
Well,
it.
look at the show Undercover Billionaire. You know, those guys, they their goal was to make $1 million, I think, in 90 days.
Yep.
And then the producers give them $100
Yep.
to start, and they take them to some city where they have no contacts. They have to change their identity. And I forget which it was.
That's a show?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
it
it was
was.
like Discovery. They ran like a few, like 3 or 4 of them. And
during COVID, or
Yeah.
right at the because Grant Cardone was on it.
Cardone,
and
there's a few other well-known people that did it.
Grant Cardone started like he went to he went to this car dealership,
Yeah.
and then he was trying to market for them, and then I think he went to this mattress, like a mattress retail, and he was just doing some guerrilla marketing for them, and they loved it because he was selling himself. When he goes see that, I remember the story. He went to go see the mattress owner, and this mattress owner was like a big shot in this town, in this one-horse town. But anyways, Grant Cardone came in there with a fucking
With a pitch?
with a pitch, but with this ball of energy.
Yeah.
like it was undeniable.
What I think his thing was like, hey, I need to bring value to someone else. If I just met Corey,
Right.
and this is Corey's business,
Right.
and it was kind of like, hey, Corey, what if I said to you, look, you're already making whatever you're making every month.
Right.
You already have, let's say you have 20 clients. Let's say you have 10 clients. So whatever you have and whatever that's making every month, if I can get you 5 more clients, or if I can make you 20% more, 30% more income this month or next month or whatever, because I'm going to go out and hustle and tell everybody that I can find that you're the best damn producer, editor, video guy, blah, 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 right?
Right.
And if I do that and I make you an extra $5,000 next month, will you give me 2,000 of it? If I make an extra 10 grand next month, can I have 3,000 or 4,000 of it?
That's what
you're
he
like,
did.
well, fuck, it was money I didn't have. Like, yeah. And so that was his thing, was he was like, let me make this guy money, and then I'll convince him to let me either buy into his business or we'll start something. But basically, let me bring the value first and take a little cream off the top. And that was kind of a, and again, not everybody, we could do that, right?
Right.
Not everybody's that personality. Where
Right, you have to be able to do it. You have to be able to do that.
Yeah,
skill set.
yeah, but that was his shtick. That's how he got going up, and then I think he got involved in a multifamily.
If we sent
deal.
you to Alamogordo, New Mexico, with $100,
Sorry, Esteban,
if
but
anybody knows where this
I
is,
will
right?
never go.
Yeah. Alamogordo. We were looking at a deal there, but it's a long
Buddy
story,
has
but-
a deal out there, New Mexico.
What was the hardest sell? What's the hardest house sale you've ever done? What made it hard?
There's
Every listing we've ever had is always everyone has its own problems. Yeah, I'm trying to think. That's a great question.
The seller or the personality. It's a personality thing. Like that's when it gets hard.
Okay.
Like they shut down or they have this, closed mindset, and it's just like I don't know. It creates a real negative, hard vibe. You still do the job, but man, it just makes it tougher. That's when I feel like it's a hard
God.
sale.
And I want to give Corey an exact answer. I'm trying to think about it, right? Because we've had so many like listings that we were, hired to sell that either the market was bad or the seller was very overpriced.
Was there anything you couldn't sell?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's
only been
think about it like
recent.
a batter, right? In baseball, getting up, right? Like there's the batting averages and stuff. Like
Yeah.
you're never, as an agent, you're never gonna get every listing that you go pitch, on the
Right.
appointments, and you're never gonna sell every listing you take. If you take 10 listings for 10 different clients, if you sell 7 or 8 of them,
That seems like a
that's
pretty good. That seems
Yeah.
pretty
you're going to
good.
spend money on
Hey.
10 marketing them, but you spend a few $1,000s on 10 of them marketing them, right?
330
But you sell
is a
7
good
of them. and
batting
they-
average in the big leagues.
Yeah, I mean, so that's how you're always looking at it, because sometimes sellers, they're not realistic, or for whatever reason, there could be some.
It's a market thing too. There's a market condition. It's like it's just not. They're not coming to you.
There could be some. What's the word I'm looking for? Functional obsolescence.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
real estate.
Yeah.
It's basically like saying a house is built next to a freeway, or across from the cemetery, or it's got a really bad floor plan, or it didn't have a garage because it was built a long time ago, and now everybody in this neighborhood wants to have cars, and like, why there's no garage? Sometimes you get listings where there's just something functional about it that's obsolete.
Unless
that
they're
you can't-
willing
that
to
you-
take-
So, and our job
Yeah.
obviously is to sell around that, right? And,
Right.
and sell people on the vision and why this is such a great property, and
Right.
that's what we're hired to do. But
I mean,
sometimes you get something. It's like a dog of a listing. You're like, fuck, I'm gonna take this listing, but this is gonna be like if
Yeah, but don't
if
get me
Moses
wrong.
flew down and parted the sea right now, I don't know if we
I
can
don't
sell
know if
this
this is
thing.
selling.
Yeah,
Right.
but don't get me wrong. If the seller was to just chop the shit out of the price,
It
it
will
would
sell.
sell.
Right.
But when you're trying to get something similar in price to the market, and it's not happening. Well, like Brand said, there's some functional obsolescence. Stuff is not. They're not seeing the value
Because things are priced based on what's next to it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In residential real estate.
In
correct.
residential. Yeah.
Commercial trades totally differently, but
Yeah.
residential, that's exactly it.
So, anyways, that would be a very difficult time.
Is the 55 unit deal commercial real estate?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because with the apartment buildings, they're considered commercial anything after 4 units. So 5-plex, 20-plex, 50-plex.
So
it's a commercial multifamily.
So when you buy a duplex, triplex, or a fourplex, Corey, you're still getting conventional financing. Financing changes after 4 units to a commercial, which means it's a different animal. Higher rates, different products.
And now it's worth a multiple of the income.
But it's worth the multiple of the income. That's exactly
and
right.
now it's a business, basically.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy this Taco Bell. Okay, it makes so much per year.
That's
so
what
that's
it's
what I
worth.
can afford to pay it.
Yep.
Same thing with the apartment complex.
Less than just like fuck what the person next door is
Yeah, you could
making
have
or
3
doing.
apartment complexes on the same street. Yeah, you're going to take some things into consideration, like, hey, what was their multiple of income, right? Because there might be a trend in that area.
Right.
Okay, people are paying 10 times the rents or whatever, but you're not. It's not the same way as a house. The house is like, okay, you live here and you sold for 800. He lives across the street. His is a little shittier, so his is probably 750, right? Like it's that's residential real estate, and it's calculating how that is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Interesting. What was the easiest sell?
Oh, jeez.
I wish we had an easy sale. No, well, have we had any really easy sales?
I mean, this is silly, but we did a deal with Open Door. And,
Oh, that's true. That was an easy sell.
We basically
Open
just
Door?
Open Door is a online selling platform. They're buyers. They're buyers of real estate, residential real estate in California, and you just put the information on their website.
They're like investors, almost like we're flipping houses,
but
but it's just
it's
like a
all
Zillow.
automated, yeah.
So Greg has this guy that he knows, and the guy's hesitant to actually give us a full listing. He's got tenants there. He doesn't really want to go through the whole process of us actually having to, first of all, having to probably clean up the property a little bit, and then us listing it and doing open houses and taking all this time and bringing, because there's a process with the listing.
Right.
Now, granted, if he went through that process, we probably would have got a little bit more money.
Right.
But he was kind of like, listen, I own 10 properties and I've already made my money on this. I bought it for $200,000. So if you sell for $800,000 or $900,000, doesn't really make a difference to me. I'd rather just go fast. I don't want headaches.
Right.
Just give me a fast offer. So literally, Greg just goes onto the website. Here's a property that I know of the guy might sell, right? Puts it into this thing, Open Door.
They spit out an offer.
They spit out a number. He calls the other guy back and says, hey, we got a buyer for you. And the guy goes, oh, that's pretty interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'd consider that. And then next thing you know, like within a few weeks, we get a $10,000 or $15,000.
It closes in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
All
so we got like a
cash.
$10,000 or $15,000 commit, whatever it was. But we didn't have to do any marketing, no bullshit. We only went to the property one
Once.
time.
Yeah.
Never had to meet the guy.
Yeah.
It was just this interesting little thing.
It was a perfect scenario for him. It actually worked out perfect for him because, listen, Corey, he had a tenant in there. I went there the one time because the Open Door has their inspection. They go through it. And the place, I mean, it's a beautiful house in a beautiful, area, right? But you walk inside, these tenants just tore this place up. He had like 4 kids, and I love kids, but kids.
You kid hater?
They're
but
they're writing all over the wall.
No, but it was. I remember seeing it. Yeah, they had. All over the wall, and I'm just like, dude, But
So
what are you gonna do?
that's all cosmetic for the most part.
But it was an easy sell.
But it was a little tore up. So, he goes in, does the inspection. Oh yeah, and everything stood pat. And Open Door's a little heavy on the fees. But they give a good offer.
What do we have right now? We have like 10 or 12 listings.
Yeah.
We have 8 in Winnetka. We have the lady in Van Nuys.
Lawndale commercial vacant lot.
Eight in Winnetka is the one that you built all of them, right?
Yeah.
Yep. We built the
One
9
has
homes. We
sold.
sold 1. So we have 8 listings there to sell. And we have probably 3 or 4 other listings, standalone listings.
Right. We got a Van Nuys.
So that's why I'm like every day, like, Greg, come on, man. What are you doing to sell these listings? Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Come on,
And I'm
Clooney.
thinking to myself, Brandon, what the hell are you doing? But it works. It works, and the system works. I think it's just been a kind of a funky real estate market.
Yeah, well, really for the last, would you say 24 months?
Yeah.
Because as soon as rates shot up, that's what happens. People get a little freaked out.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's just, it's the same thing. If you're going to buy a house and your payment would have been $4,000 and now just because rates went up, that same house is $6,500
Yeah.
or whatever the math is, people start going, okay.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of people that are buying are counting on the fact that at some point rates are going to come back down.
Yep. And then
when
they
they do,
refinance. Yep.
they'll refinance. Okay, cool. But yeah, They've been
I
high
know.
for a second.
Well, listen, I think we're headed in the right direction as far as rates. I think the pressure is that they're coming down, but
Yeah.
sooner than later. Hopefully.
There was I remember last year there was a like overhaul in how real estate, and how
commissions.
realtors and how commissions were
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
Right. How has that affected anything?
That's a good question, Corey.
It's been about
Brandon
has
may
it been
know.
a year? It's been
I just hear
Like 6 months?
all the
Yeah,
change.
it was last July or August. It went
Yeah.
into
Well, it was
effect.
about a year, right?
You couldn't agree on a commission for the buyer's agent. So
I think it's really kind of bullshit, actually.
it is
By the
because
way,
all that happened was we just went around it and there's another way
Right.
to legally.
What I'm saying is it basically is
Offer
still
concession.
functioning the same.
Yeah.
It's like semantics, right? It's like, okay, you can't tell somebody that you're willing to pay the buyer's agent, but then when they come around, if they ask you to pay some of their closing costs, and that happens to include paying so it's like basically
Half
it's
dozen
still
of another.
Like,
Yeah.
By the way, everything we've sold in the last year, we've still had a buyer's agent getting commission,
Yep.
our commission, vice
Yep.
versa, whatever. So it really, I guess the point is, it really hasn't changed anything, but this big law firm, sued all the major brokerages and got billions of dollars out of them so that they would have
That's
to do
all
this,
it
so that we'd
was,
have to change our paperwork to do a workaround. Now, you kind of really sit there and think about it and go, well, what the fuck was the point?
Yeah.
Right.
It's really a side note on the way our society works. It's just ridiculous that occurred. I mean, just attorneys got rich.
That's the only thing.
Did it make a difference in like maybe like other markets? Is California? I know California is usually like a relatively like a stringent place. New York is a relatively stringent place, but maybe it is making a difference to someone in like a different market.
It's, that might be the case. I don't know.
Corey, yeah.
That could be.
I mean, the
That's
only
a really
thing
good point.
it highlighted was, do sellers have to pay all this commission? I think sellers were the ones. Does a seller owner have to pay all this commission to get it done? And I think the answer is yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you still want to sell your property, you got to pay some commission. And now I understand their point was the commissions are too high and it was all these set fees and sellers should have more options.
Right.
And they've always had options to negotiate. But yeah, it was
Always.
kind of a locked in process, but it's always going to be what it is. You want to get your property sold, you're going to pay some brokers because if they're not motivated to bring a buyer and work on a deal,
You're not going to get it sold. Or
yeah, and it goes back to like the example we gave a second ago. Not everybody's always in that, position. But a lot of people are, and if you bought a property for way less and you're making $500,000 or $600,000 or some big chunk of money on it, yeah, $10,000 matters. But you're sitting here quibbling over, if you got an opportunity to sell your property and someone's going to bring you an offer, don't trip over, what do they say? Don't trip over dollars to get to pennies, kind of thing.
Right.
And that's that's what we always try to tell our clients, and obviously everybody's different, but
Interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned marketing. Like for we've never talked about that. Marketing listings, marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing for BG.
Well, what we do is we
BCG.
put Greg's face on a sign, and it goes right in the front yard, and it says, "Hey, I'm Greg Clooney, George's
I flip
cousin. Call me."
signs out front of the building.
Yeah.
Put it on the side of a buzz.
Yeah,
What's the other? Oh, a bus
Park
stop.
bench, a park bench.
A park bench.
Right.
Yeah.
Park bench.
yeah, just Clooney's face everywhere.
Do those
I'm sure
really work?
I'm sure they probably do because sometimes I see a billboard campaign and I'll be like, yeah, who is 1-800-CALL Gwen?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
whatever.
something's catchy, right?
Yeah, some
Like,
of them.
Is there like bad marketing? I mean, there's bad press, but then they say there's no bad press. So.
I mean, it depends on how much that press costs. It could
Yeah.
be. Apparently, none of it's bad, but it might be like you maybe not spent the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how do you think, Greg, real estate marketing specifically, like for residential listings, how has the marketing changed over the years? Like if you look at like 10, 15 years ago when you got a listing and you were going to sell it for a client, what did you primarily do to market that versus now?
Is it
10
digital?
years ago?
Is it traditional? It's like news article? How do you do it?
Yeah, well now it's all digital.
It's all digital.
It's social media ads.
Right.
It's videos.
But I haven't even seen a lot of that lately, though, Brandon. Be honest with you, I haven't seen a lot of that lately.
Well, look, the way it used to be was that you try to get your clients home in a magazine or something.
Yeah.
That's like
I got
a
this
publicist.
magazine. I got that magazine,
and then these magazines popped up all over different regions that are just creating these magazines for realtors. You know what I mean? Just throwing them out there.
And there's still magazines, but I would say now it's much more important to be on the digital side of things. So there's social media, there's doing video campaigns.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of things like, text blasts to potential buyers in the area. And there's a whole slew of things. And, because the reality is
Do you
not
have like
one
a marketing team? Do you have a person
We
who does it?
have
Yeah.
a person on our team.
Is that you're B and you're G? Is it that C or K? Who does
that would be Alicia, actually.
Alicia.
Oh, Alicia
Yeah,
is the
so
marketing.
Alicia
Yeah,
helps over
yeah.
at Skymark as well.
Oh,
we had
got
different
it.
people in that slot over the years, but so she's over on our brokerage side as well, and we have her doing stuff. So it's nice. So she helps with that.
Okay.
And then we've got our vendors, right? We have our photographer that does this and that, and different people.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Never thought about
Yeah, I
marketing
mean,
pros.
listen, good professional pictures and videos and drone shots. I mean, that's more important than ever, I think, right now. And you can get some really quality stuff up there on the, out there in the. On
Yeah,
the
I think you're bringing up a good point, right? Like a lot of it really starts with the fundamentals. Price it right.
Yeah.
If you're gonna list the property and you notice there's scuffs on the walls and there's shit that needs to be cleaned up, clean it up before you start marketing it, right?
Right.
So we'll go to a seller and say, okay, let's figure out the price. If we gotta get a handyman in here to do some work, let's do that. And then we need to take really badass photos and video.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody's going to see.
You can literally, if you've got that, they can literally virtually
then
walk
whether
your
those photos
property.
and video go to Facebook or YouTube or this place or the magazine, that's kind of all we kind of decide on different listings how we're pushing that. But again, the fundamentals of make sure it looks and smells nice, make sure the pictures look really good, make sure it's priced right.
Yeah.
Because any amount of marketing is not really going to solve price at the end of the day. It might solve a little price.
That's true. It might
get
get them out there and then they can negotiate on price. But you're right. Pricing everything becomes a function of the price at some point.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You ready to buy or what?
I'd love to stop paying rent or at least be paying rent that was coming back to me. That'd be great. I spend so much fucking money on rent.
Dude.
Corey,
much money.
I would
I'm
suggest if we get a rate reduction, like it's probably going to be a half a point, might even be a 0.75. I think you need to jump in.
Half a point.
Yeah,
Is that
because
a big
rates are going to
reduction?
go down from 6% to
You're calling it, huh?
5.5%.
He's calling it right here.
Those still seem high as hell. I feel
know,
like
I know,
when I
but
grew up,
Corey-
rates weren't that high.
Well,
they were like 2-3%.
then you're going to sit. Then
My
you're
rates
gonna,
are 4%.
3-4%, yeah.
well, then you're going to sit tight for another 24, 26, 27, 28 months. That's,
that's not-
fine.
that's not
You're
too
listen.
bad.
You're a young guy, and me, I couldn't do it.
So are you saying someone should wait based on the rate? Or should somebody, when
I mean,
he's
2 years
ready,
isn't
he
that long.
has the 50 grand, should he jump in even if rates are a little high to get his money working and start that process?
Well, listen, if you're not part of the Rockefeller family, you may have to wait till the rates go down a little bit, before you jump in.
Right.
Well, listen, Corey's a fucking baller, so
Right.
he's not worried about it, bro.
No, right.
So what are we talking about here?
Yeah, Corey's going to pick up 3 more clients
I'm about to
and
go
get his
take
down
that-
payment. He's not
take
going to give
this
a shit
10
if
to
his payments
Vegas
are
and fuck it up
$1,000
real
more.
fast. you know?
Yeah, it's like it's positive attitude.
You
Corey.
know?
I love it.
Hell
You
yeah.
got
Depends on
to
how you
have a
look at it,
positive
you know?
attitude.
Definitely.
Wow.
Definitely.
Well, that'd be a whole nother show. I know we're trying to wrap this one up, but positive attitude.
Yeah,
would be a
get
next-
some. We'll burn some incense and sit around in a
Ring a
circle
bell.
and do this.
Yeah.
No, listen, it's cool to be able to talk a little residential real estate because these days a lot of what Greg and I are always talking about is building, investing, commercial real estate or multifamily, and
right.
and it's cool too to kind of like bring it into some people that are probably watching the show and going, hey, I love the investing side, but just walk me through some of the residential stuff. And since that is our background, right, we're residential guys and now more so commercial guys, but
I feel like it's how you get from one to the other.
Yeah,
and all-
exactly.
it
Right,
all
exactly.
relates. I think it just all relates. I mean, everything relates, right? Or do you disagree?
No, I think like if you're always trying, like I don't know, like I'm always like thinking about how do you do stuff, how do you grow, how do you and you just have to be sucking in information to kind of do that, and like it all definitely relates. That's most definitely, for sure. So.
There we go.
Wow. Hey.
Well, take us out, bro.
Cheers to
Bust
you guys, and
bust the
thank you
outro.
for another episode of BZGK High Stakes Deal.
There we go. You heard her here. That's a wrap. Woo.
All right.